Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube and Winslow's Only Hope, Nerdlationships. We're back, everybody. Kind of took a
Hey!
couple weeks off, but we had a lot going on and stuff like that. So I am very glad to be back here with my friend Winnie. And today we are talking about nerd-themed vacations with significant others. First off, Winnie, how has your month been since we really haven't met since the beginning of technically the beginning of this month, but how's your month been?
I had pneumonia.
Oh my God.
I had other than that, I was fine, but that pneumonia really killed. It's still in my chest, so if you hear me cough, that's why. But I got to go to
Yeah, I got to get all those fluids
yeah,
out
I'm
of your
trying,
lungs.
but it's never ending. um I went to the African American History Museum. We had our Junji Ito book club. So I did some things. It was fun.
Cool.
What about you?
Not much. I mean, I've been working a lot. I've been growing my beard out, as you can see. I'm trying something different.
I said that yesterday or the other day. I'm like,
I'm just I decided to try something different, I usually always have like the goatee, and I was just like, yeah, you know what, I'll let it grow, see what happens. I've been doing beard care with it, so I'm not being lazy and just not doing it. Like, I'm doing the oils and I'm doing all that other stuff. So, I'm actually trying something different. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm in this point in my life where I'm just like, I'm doing it because I want to, not because I'm trying to impress anybody. So
right. Well, that's good. It looks good.
well, thank you very much. And I meant to say yesterday, and I forgot to say yesterday. If I look half as good as Squez, then I am doing well.
Oh my gosh.
But other than that, I mean, it's just work, and end of month is coming up, and I got to finish some stuff up and all that other bull crap. But yeah, so that's kind of it. I know we were talking about your internet before we got on here. That was kind of crazy. Okay, so did anyone know that a upload speed can get up to over 300?
Why?
300.
I feel weird because I thought that was normal.
No, mine's 10. You have a well-endowed internet upload speed.
Oh my Jesus.
Must I say, and I must, trust me, because
yeah,
I'm a guy. We like to measure things.
Yeah, of course you do. It's like 317 or something. Oh, sounds are working for some reason.
Well, that's okay. We like sounds.
Sorry, let me turn that off. Thank you for the resub. But yeah, so our upload speed right now is 317, and we were talking about beforehand, nobody has that. So it's like when I was trying to get help for my Streamlabs OBS setup, nobody believed me that was my upload speed.
I did not believe you. I was very adamant. I'm like, there's no way. Show me your screen, man. I was so wrong. I was eating so much crow. This is what I get for being, me.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, all right. So today, what we're talking about is vacationing with significant other on nerdy destination. So I do have a list of places that we're going to talk about. Some of these are very famous. Some of these are very niche. Some of these are, Boys Life G says first. So if you're not first, you're last.
Yep. Famous words of Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
But yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
So a lot of these, I've been on vacations with past exes. Squez and I haven't been. I'm trying to think. We went for one day to New York City to Nintendo and all that, so we can talk about that. But I can talk about how I think things would happen.
Either that, or we can just talk about the idea of these, Hi
Woodley.
What we would talk about it. So, but yeah. So, okay. So the first one I have here on the list is obviously the biggest one in the world. And I do consider it a nerdy destination, especially since now they have Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. But I've always considered it a nerdy destination because you know what? Disney nerds are nerds too.
Yes, they are.
Just like Pokemon nerds are nerds too.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Disney, obviously. So we have Disney World, we have Disneyland. I have been to Disney World. I've never been to Disneyland. I don't know if you've ever been to both. I know
No,
you've been to.
I've been to World, but I was 6. World, I can tell the difference. World is Florida because it has ORL, like Orlando.
Yeah, and it's also several different parks. Like where
Yes.
I think Disneyland is 2 parks. I think maybe.
I don't know that much about land.
Gotcha. And yeah, so we will, Wooly the Man, we will be getting to that one actually next. So buckle your safety belts because you're in for it.
Well, Disney World, one of the parks is MGM, which when I went at like 11, talked about old school films. I don't know if they still do. I don't even know if that park still existed. But
I mean, Disney World does that. They have the Muppet Show. So talking about old school shows.
Yes,
that's probably like the oldest. That's probably not the oldest attraction there, but that is kind of an old one. Is the whole Muppet Show thing? Like
they had like Mr. Toad. I don't know. Like I said, they could have changed all of this. It's been 20 some years since I've been, but like
I was there in 2020. I went there in February of 2020, right before lockdown. Oh. Literally the next month is when we all went into lockdown.
Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yep.
Did you end up with COVID?
Nope. Not that I know of. I mean, but I work in a nursing home. So it's like, listen, I think I told you the other day, COVID walks up to me and locks its doors. It's like, oh shit, it drives by me and locks its doors. So, so do you remember, I know it's been 20 years for you, but do you remember your favorite park that you visited? Like, I know they didn't have, obviously, I don't think they had Hollywood Studios back then.
No.
No, it was an Animal Kingdom they didn't have.
So I liked MGM because I'm a roller coaster girl, and they had like quite a few there. Like they had the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster. I don't know if they still have it, but it's cool because it's dark except for all the neon signs.
It was there when I was there in 2020.
Nice.
I wrote it. So
yes, and like for me, that's really cool. Plus, you guys know we're nerds. We like all the lights and the neon and whatever. So
all the flashy things.
Yes. So I liked that, and then I think my favorite park though was Epcot because again I'm a nerd. You get to learn about different cultures all around the world. There was a space thing where you were like riding in a spacecraft. There was so like of course I think that was my favorite. I didn't get like Star Wars didn't become a thing until like in the last 10 years maybe.
Yeah, Disney didn't buy Star Wars until like 2012, I think, or 2014. I don't remember. It was something like that. I thought. I might be wrong on that.
It's somewhere around there because I remember having the conversation right before they were doing it like, oh my gosh, this is not going to be great.
Yeah. So for my experience in 2020, it was the first time I ever went. I took my kids because I mean, my son, I think, was 13. My daughter was like 10 at the time. So they were getting to that point where it's like, they were probably going to start losing the quote unquote magic of it, of a child experience versus like a teenager experience, which in my opinion is probably different, it's just the experience. So, the park that surprised me was Animal Kingdom. I was very surprised at how much and all it is, and it's more than this, but like all it was kind of like just a really nice zoo. But I mean, for some reason, like the attractions and everything, like it was really good. The safari drive.
I remember all I wanted to meet was Pocahontas. And I like, you never know which characters are going to be out at any given day. And like Pocahontas, then between Pocahontas and Ariel, those were my two favorites. And so what, like they had like this show, I guess you'd call it, where it was Pocahontas and Grandmother Willow and all the little animals. But it was like a surprise to me because I didn't know until we got right outside of it. Like, I'm going to cry now. And we got somehow like right up front, and I reached for her hand because I'm 11. Oh, okay, Lilo. I'm 11, and you can't control yourself always when you're 11. And she, even though she was on stage and supposed to be doing her show, she reached for my hand anyway. But like, that's why it's a magical place, because they go out of their way to make you feel like you're amazing, and they don't care. She reached for my hand, and I'm sorry, that was probably my favorite experience. Leo Bear.
I'm trying to remember, is the Lion King a part of Animal Kingdom, or is it?
It was. We saw that too.
Okay, Lion King for me was a spectacle. Like I thought it was amazing.
Yes. And it's the same
and I know
show. It's kind of like they took part of the Broadway.
Yeah, they did. They kind of shortened it. The Broadway show they shortened, but they had like all the animatronics, all the stuff. And I mean, I was blown away. That was probably my.
I'll have that.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the Animal Kingdom surprised me the most, and I was like, holy crap. Like I was thinking, okay, Hollywood Studios is going to be the one that I'm going to really gravitate towards. No, Animal Kingdom was the one that I was like, holy shit, this is peak Disney for me.
Yes. And is it because when like Lion King was the first theater or movie that I ever saw in theaters? So like,
no, I actually don't like the movie all that much.
Because it's sad?
No, just because I didn't really, I didn't like it that much. Not that I hated it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it just didn't resonate with me very well. But also keep in mind, I'm a little bit older than you. So like 5 or 6 years or something. Yeah, so like my prime, like with you, would have been like Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and I know that like right after that was Lion King. But I think after Aladdin and stuff like that, like that's kind of where I started. I was kind of growing out of that Disney magic phase where it was like, so I was kind of being a little more, I don't know. But yeah, no, Lion King didn't. I mean, and again, I'm not saying Lion King's a bad movie. It's a great movie, but it just doesn't resonate with me like Aladdin does and like Little Mermaid does. And Beauty and the Beast is another one that I just didn't resonate with, Even though there's nothing wrong with those movies. I think they're good movies.
I just want her books, but instead of actual books, I just want it to be Japanese manga.
Ooh. I have a whole row of Dragon Ball manga in my collection. I keep on thinking about bringing it out and like setting it up. Like I want to totally redo this whole thing, because I mean, like I want to kind of put this like maybe back. There's a desk back here I want to kind of get rid of, and I kind of want to make my setup a little bit more like cool looking. Like but get like a little shelf back behind here, and like maybe like put my manga on there on the top or something. Like so. But I've got like the whole line of Dragon Ball manga, like from beginning to end so far, because technically Dragon Ball Super is still going. So
I would have like I've been collecting all of the Junji Ito because I like horror. I don't know. It's always weird for people to hear that, because I spend lots of time playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, and then they're like, what are you reading right now? And then I show them my book, and they're like, ew, what?
Listen, people.
But yeah, anyway.
Hey, I mean, listen, we there are peaks and valleys with our not good and bad, but like peaks and valleys. Like there's cheery and bubbly, and then there's dark and demented. Like you.
Like that Zack Snyder comic that I read it was like about a serial killer, which they're not going to finish now that I'm seeing.
Oh, well, that sucks.
I guess this is the second one of his, but I picked it up because I wanted to read an American one instead of just all the Japanese horror. And it was fantastic. Like I can't get enough of it.
Listen, I was not big on Zack Snyder's DC films. Like some of them were pretty bad, but like I think Zack Snyder is very creative. I think he does certain things very well, as most artists do. Most artists like. I just don't think Zack Snyder was kind of right for like superhero. Like him doing a Batman probably would have been fantastic. Him doing Superman was not that great.
It's the tone you're going for. If he's going for horror, that's perfect.
Yes, exactly. So I don't have like I don't have a problem with Zack Snyder as long as it's like Tim Burton. You know what I mean? Like Tim Burton, as long as he stays in his lane, like he does okay. And although I'm not a huge fan of Tim Burton's like stuff, like it's still he does good stuff. You know what I mean? Like I can admit that he does good in his lane.
I love Tim Burton. I don't know if I have anything in arm length, but I do love him a lot. So
yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of claymation. So like Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, like that doesn't resonate with me. But again, I'm not sitting there saying it's garbage. Like if you like it, I'm very happy for you. And Tim Burton is very good at that.
Frame by frame by frame to make a 2-hour movie or whatever. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Oops.
So anyway, back on
topic, because we have ADHD here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hi Grim, hi Bios. Just a quick reminder. We'll try to get to comments, but as we're doing this podcast thing, it's a little harder.
And also, I mean, that's
streaming more, so hopefully you guys can get your fix that way.
Also, that's why we kind of have them up here over here, so everybody's comments are seen. And if we do comment on them, but we're not going to like mention every single comment, So,
but we love you anyway.
Yes, we do.
So yeah. But I think so yes, now that we got our favorite parks and stuff out of the way, I think we also went to Universal then too, because Nickelodeon was a big thing then. That was like Nickelodeon's peak. And it was when people were getting slimed and gacked and all of that. And I loved that.
I've never been to Universal, so you go ahead and take it away.
So at Universal, from what I remember, there was a lot of, again, horror stuff because Universal encompasses more than just the kiddie stuff. And Nickelodeon was there. So when I went, they picked somebody from the crowd to taste the slime and the gack. Ooh. And it's exactly, but you don't know. Like, so when I tasted, I'm like, oh, it's vanilla pudding. It's applesauce. But we didn't know. But I just remember like everybody getting slimed on Nickelodeon. And then Universal, they had a lot of those, I can't remember what they're called, but when you're like sitting in the room, it feels like you're actually there. So like they had a Back to the Future car where you were in the Back to the Future car. And when we went over the volcano, it was hot. And when we were driving the car to somewhere with ice, it was cold. Like that was kind of cool. They had a lot of rooms like that. The Twister room, they had a tornado in the freaking building with us.
Wait,
that
like they created a tornado.
A tornado. Then all of a sudden, like the tornado hit a sign, like an electric neon sign. It hit it. It fell right in front of you, and it would caught on fire. Like
that seems like a logistical like a safety nightmare.
It does. Like now as an adult, like how the hell would you do that over and over all day long? But they did. I don't know. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Twister was our favorite movie as a kid, me and my brother. But it was fun. And now that they have like all the different parks, I need to go back because now they have Super Nintendo World or Super Mario World or whatever you want to call it. And I am telling me not to go. But they also have something to do with dragons. And I don't know if that's a specific movie, but it looks really cool.
I think it's How to Train Your Dragon. I think.
Is it just that?
I maybe I thought it was, but maybe not. I don't know.
And then they have like 6 or 7 different realms. Like, so we really need to go back. But it's hard because that's expensive. And also if you're down there, you want to spend at least a day at Disney, and a day at Disney by itself, one day is going to be expensive. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, so for me, when I was with my ex-girlfriend, we were supposed to go on a vacation. Like we had talked about going on a vacation because when we went to Disney with the kids, we didn't go to Epcot just because not that we didn't want to do that, but we were already doing 3 parks. We were down there with several people. Like it was just it really wasn't. And at the end of the day, the kids got to go to Epcot with their mom and like and
fine,
anyway, but it was a last minute thing, and we were just like, me and my girlfriend were like, no, if you want to take the kids and the kids want to go, fine, they can go to Epcot, but like we decided not to. But we were planning on going back, me and just my girlfriend going back to Epcot and Disney, and then going to Universal Studios.
Yeah, because Harry Potter's there now, and I think she liked Harry Potter.
Yes,
I remember correctly.
But actually, that's what I wanted to bring up is with Harry Potter is before I didn't care that much about Harry Potter. I acknowledge it. It's a franchise. It's a good franchise.
I love it.
Ever since I've played Hogwarts Legacy, I'm not going to lie. I want to go. I really, really want to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it was a very, it intrigues me a lot. I've tried not to look at anything online just because when I go, I want to be
Mm-hmm.
surprised. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it there, but
We
yeah,
should plan a trip where we all just go. Like whoever wants to go just goes. Me and Squez and you and whoever and
I
whatever.
mean, Mage lives down that way. We could all meet up down there, right?
That would be awesome
So
because it would be amazing. It's going to be exhausting. Squez doesn't necessarily always like to leave the house, but once he's out, he'll be fine. Like I'm trying to imagine these things. Like he would love it, but he sometimes is like me. He gets overwhelmed by things. And so like in a place like that, there's stuff everywhere. So I don't know
the
exactly.
overstimulation is just
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like in Mario World, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna cry the whole time because it's so cool and it's my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, if we could figure that out. I mean, I'm supposed to have. There's a possible Vegas vacation that I have coming up in October. It's still kind of up in the air, but
Oh, is
I
that
mean,
what Sam's talking about? I mean, Bender Rodriguez.
no. This is 40th birthday for one of my friends.
Oh, nice.
They're talking about going out to Vegas, and I'm like, well, if I can, like, because they invited people out, so I'm like, if I can, I wouldn't mind going. I've never been to Vegas, like active Vegas. Like I've driven through Vegas. I've
Yeah.
never actually been to Vegas, so I'm kind of like. But I mean, if that's something we kind of want to look at like next year, the following year, I mean, I'm all for that.
Absolutely.
I always have to plan though, like for vacations, I have to plan like a year in advance. Like I'm not one of those that are like in 3 months I'm going to Vegas. No,
because we have to like Disney lets you prepay, and that's how we'd have to do it. Like, so we'd have to figure out first like what parks we're going to and what we're actually doing. But
yeah. But that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing something like that if we can work it out. But yeah, Harry Potter, Nintendo, like I've always been a Nintendo fan. Again, I'm not into it as much as you are, which is fine. But I mean, look, Mario's been a part of my life since NES. I've played since Atari. So like and honestly, I think I've played Donkey Kong, which technically had Mario in it too. So, like technically, Mario's been a part of my life the whole time.
Right.
So, I mean, I would love to go to Mario World.
And it's not like you couldn't have fun,
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, as long as you're a good spirit about anything, like Squez goes with me once a month to the Air and Space Museum. There's no other reason to go to that once a month because it doesn't change that often.
Yeah, right.
And I just like it, and it feels like we're in space in the one room. Like, so he'd have fun. We'd have fun as long as you're in good spirits.
Yeah, if you think you're going to have a bad time, you're going to have a bad time.
Exactly.
If you're at least open to a good time, like, you know what, I'm just going to go and have some fun. Then you're
right.
Yeah, you're gonna.
There were some vacations with my ex, not vacations. I was a part of a slightly different Viking reenactment group for a while.
Ooh.
And so that's nerdy in its own way because you have to do research. My dresses that I wore had to be perfectly like they were back in the day. So like we didn't go on real, we went to DC a couple times, but we did that kind of stuff, which trust me is way frustrating. You don't get to shower for a week. We're stinky, we're smelly, we're eating food from, Viking era times, like 10:30. So
like human flesh, because
oh my god,
some Vikings were cannibals. Just saying, like they would eat they would eat the fallen sometimes.
Yep, and if they had to, they had to, but no.
No, none of that. Okay, I'm glad we drew the line there.
I mean, like if circumstances were right, like the Donner Party, maybe. Oh, just kidding. Okay, anyway, but yeah, so like there's like technically a nerdy vacation because we were in Missouri with our group for 2 weeks doing a Viking reenactment and just living like Vikings did, we had our tent set up, we had our everything. That was kind of miserable though, just because I like to shower, I like to be clean, I like to not let people wander in through my tent, but as part of being a reenactor and helping people learn history, you kind of just got to let people do it. Like,
okay.
It was a thing. That's the nerdiest.
I applaud you for trying, like, to, like, you know, like that is a sacrifice for a relationship.
So, but yeah, we did stuff like that.
At least you can say you tried it.
Yes. But as far, so I think I would have more fun with Squez anyway, just because he's fun at Universal, because I know at the end of the night I'm going to be able to take a shower and eat a steak or something. You know,
That's been dead for more than like 15 minutes.
Yes. Oh, Leo Bear.
So yeah, Universal. I mean, as I said, that's one place I've never been that I would like to go. I don't know. I mean, with me, it's like my problem is that, like, if I go with my kids, I'm in dad mode. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's my problem. Is like a vacation for
But
me.
does
Vacation.
it matter if we schedule it for 2 years from now? Izzy will be 18.
No.
You don't have to be as much in dad mode because they're adults.
No. I'm not talking about upcoming. I'm just talking about in the past. You know what I mean? Like with Disney, like I didn't enjoy Disney as much as I think I could have. Like, you know, just because I was in dad mode the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it was just like I was, you know, in dad mode. So like that's why I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of ready for, you know, maybe some vacations where I'm like not in dad mode.
Yeah. Because it's different. It's a little different when you're an adult doing things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to country concerts as a kid, but as an adult, it's like you see more things and you understand things way different. So like I get it.
Yep.
So
oh, go ahead.
We have the cons.
Yeah. So I've never been to any con except for my local con, which is kind of extravagant.
Con?
The what?
Akron Con. They had some Star Trek people there. What's his name that sits in the thing?
Sits in the thing.
Yeah, I'll show it to you later. I don't think I have that within arm's reach either.
Okay.
But
yeah, I don't usually keep an eye on the local cons.
In the big silver thing, he was getting interrogated.
Big silver thing. You talking about Patrick Stewart?
No.
The silver thing he was getting interrogated.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
anyway, okay.
Yeah, I did go to Steel City Con years ago.
Probably in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh. That was over a decade ago, but yeah, that was kind of like the last one I really went to. That was a lot of fun with my friends. You know, because the local one is more like you just there's like a circle and like there's just stores set up there.
Which one are you talking about?
Huh?
Which one are you talking about?
The local one, Akron one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm telling you, they had some people there.
Yeah, but this was when I went, it was years ago. So probably, I don't even think Comic-Con was as popular as it is now. Like,
okay, that makes
probably
sense.
Back in like,
I went like 5 years ago, maybe now.
Okay. I went like probably back in like 2000, anywhere between like 2005, 2010.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, that's different.
Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
The galaxy far, far away. But I went to Steel City, which was nice. There were a lot more celebrities there. I met a couple. I'm not one of those who takes pictures with celebrities and stuff. I don't get them to sign stuff. I just don't. I don't like doing that. You know, I like to, like, if there's somebody, like if there's an actor who had a role that really like impacted me, or if there's like a, you know, if there's a like a actor that really like if Robin Williams would have been at one of these cons, I would have absolutely met him because Robin Williams meant a lot to me growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, I would just let them know how much they meant to me, you know, and stuff like that. But I'm not one to just like, I don't know, I don't like doing pictures. I don't like doing like with celebrities. I don't like getting things signed. I don't want it to feel like I'm just there to get something signed to like sell. Yeah, and I mean, I know that's not why people do it, but for me, that's kind of, you know, I'm like, I just don't want to do that. So signatures for people mean different things for different people.
Yeah. And that was me too. Like, and it's plus is expensive. Like, if I want something signed and me and Squez are there together, you have to pay individual fees.
Yeah.
Like, or if you pay one fee, then you both have to be in the picture, and you know, and that's fine. But like, when we did that with my ex, now I have all those pictures that I hate. Not that I'm planning on breaking up with Squez, but you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
So we did, my ex and I did Fan Expo, which is a con, in Cleveland, and it's usually like March or April. It has like lots of famous people, like so like I didn't meet everyone because a lot of like the one time they had Charles Martinet, and I have pictures of that somewhere, but like of course I'm gonna go meet Mario, like so I get that. And this is signed by him. I don't know if you can see it, but he like drew all over it. And yeah, so it was kind of awesome. It was just a really good day because I love Mario, and he also was the voice of Wario. And like I can imagine if Squez would have been there, it would have been 10 times more fun. You know, I was doing it with my ex, and he's like, I don't give a shit about this.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's sad.
It kind of takes the magic out of it, you know, because like this Mario is my whole world, you know.
And Squez asked a little bit earlier, I missed it. Do we consider cons / events as nerd themed? I do, only because like even if it's a daycation, like even if you're just going for the day, it's still kind of like if you're going with your significant other, and yeah, you can stay overnight somewhere, like if you're going far away. I do consider it, like as I said, it's kind of you're going out of your way to go to these events, you know, like I do consider it. So like San Diego, New York, WonderCon, like those three I kind of have listed here. This is kind of something I wanted to do and I forgot to write it down, but what is your perfect vacation like if you went to any of these cons? Like money's not an option here. Like what would you want to do at this con? Leo Bear, I'll ask you first.
Yeah, since you can't see me, my head is now Leo Bear's head. So I at a con.
Yeah, at a specific, like at a con like San Diego, New York, or WonderCon.
So I would probably go to San Diego because that's like the first one, the holy grail of them, right? And it's expensive, and like even if you could afford it, that it's really hard to get tickets, and you know.
Yeah, but let's say money and lines. Money and lines are not an issue. Like let's just say you have the whole con to yourself. You are Queen Winnie today.
Oh my gosh. So if you're in a relationship, you have to make sure that both people are, and I have trouble with this sometimes, because like I'll see, for example, Charles Martinet, and Squez might see some Japanese guy that I don't know, and I might pull him, so like to do all the things that I want to do, and that's not fair. Like so, like you got to take that stuff into consideration, but. I would say as long as we got to see the people that we wanted to see, didn't have too many smells because for some reason y'all don't be showering. Like, why can't I go to these places without smelling you? But sitting, like being able to like ask a question on a panel of a show that I really love, because there's like nowadays at San Diego, like they had the Gilmore Girls cast, which is not necessarily a nerdy thing per se.
But it's a niche thing.
But it's a niche thing.
I think niche and nerdy kind of almost go hand in hand. They're kind of like cousins.
It's not, yeah. And it's not really like asking a Marvel panel something. Like, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And like Sean Gunn is in both, like, kind of superhero things and Gilmore Girls. But like,
if Lauren Graham's there, I'm there. I love Lauren Graham.
Yeah, I love Lauren Graham too. Not the same reason you do, but
but no, so just I think I don't know if we've talked about this on here now, but Gilmore Girls is actually a show I enjoyed. I can talk about Gilmore Girls
because they're smart.
Yeah, it was very well written, and I love the way they wrote it because like there's not a comma to be seen in Gilmore Girls.
Exactly.
I thought that the cast was great. I thought that the writing was great. And I thought that the actors were great. You know, there's with the exception of one or two, but like Lauren Graham, I can't remember who did Luke. Rory was okay. She was a little rough in the beginning, but I think towards the end, like towards the middle end, she was
she
really
got older. And I don't know if you knew this, Alexis, but Bledel had never acted in a thing before this.
Yeah, I think that's why it was like rough in the beginning.
So
And
you see, like
and
Lauren Graham
isn't
with
English
the
not
arms
even her?
around her because she's trying to direct her towards the camera.
Yeah, but like also like like her, I think English isn't even her first language, right?
Correct.
Like I think
She grew up in Argentina. She was one of those. She's German. Her family kind of deflected there after the war, if you take my meaning. So she's one of those German Hispanic people.
that is a phrase I don't think I've ever heard in my entire life. A German Hispanic. It's just something I've never heard before.
Well, I mean, it's true. Her family didn't start in Argentina. They, deflected after World War II when the Nazis were like, hey, we can't stay here anymore, so we're all going to go to Argentina or somewhere in South America. So she was her ancestors were a part of that. And I don't know if ancestors is the right word, but like that's why she was there.
Gotcha. Yeah, but anyway, not another tangent, but I always liked Gilmore Girls. I was always Team Dean. I always thought Dean was better than Jesse.
No, I liked Jess.
And I hated what's his nuts. What was his name?
Logan?
The last one.
Logan.
Yeah,
I think is the father of her baby. Side note.
Oh no. But no, anyway, Gilmore Girls, I really liked it. And a lot of people find this surprising when I start joining in conversations about Gilmore Girls. I'm like, I like the show. Like, I can appreciate it. Like, just because it's like a chick show, if it's got good writing and good characters, you can appreciate something.
Yes.
You don't have to be emasculated by a show. You know what I mean?
I liked when they brought the revival back, the first one, they were like, they did the no comma thing, and Lauren Graham was like, whew, it's been a while since we did that. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So
so
if I had like the perfect con, it would be the Angel cast. It would be probably the Gilmore Girls cast. It would probably, maybe some Grey's Anatomy people would be there. I know that's not all like fits in the normal con stuff, but
yeah, but the hospital genre is kind of its own niche as well. As I said, I mean, like there's so many of those shows, it is almost kind of like its own cinematic multiverse at this point.
It's called Gilmore Girls with a G. I don't know if you're saying a joke, but I don't always get those. But
yeah, he's always trying to make a funny name out of something.
But yeah, so it would have that stuff. Like overall, Squez doesn't care. He just goes with the flow. So I think more than often than not, it's just, hey, I'm gonna have fun no matter where I'm at. So even though she's like sobbing because she's meeting Lauren Graham, like I'm okay with it because it's gonna be fun anyway, So I think it would be, as long as we got to both, like we're equally doing the things that we wanted to do during this con and our cosplays worked and our whatever, it doesn't have to be this extra ordinary or extra exciting thing. It just, just go there, see the people and be done,
What cosplay would you do?
No money's not cosplay, huh?
I was just gonna say no money, no, like we're not talking about money, time, all that. Just what would your cosplay be if you had a choice of anything at your con?
I mean, I liked making it. My last cosplay was Froppy from My Hero Academia because I 3D printed a lot of stuff for that, and like that was one of the most fun times I ever had, and like I got a lot of looks for that. And because everybody else's stuff was like store-bought and like mine looked legit, but it was printed and handmade.
Yeah. You can tell when somebody like actually makes something, or somebody's just showing up in a Deadpool outfit that was like bought at Spirit Halloween last October. You know what I mean? Like I've made a couple cosplays. I made a Havoc uniform like from the X-Men for Halloween one year. I made, now I'm drawing a blank. I made my own Deathstroke outfit.
Nice.
So I bought some stuff. I made the mask. I made like an actual like shield mask, and it was like that clear. But like, so what I did is I spray painted the one side with the eyepiece, like so left open so I could see, and then the other side was just left I think I just left it covered or just open, I think. No,
Mhm.
it's actually covered like his mask. So I can
Yeah.
really only see out of one eye. But like,
Hey, it worked.
but I listen, and I wore an eye patch underneath it on the one side, and just I loved making it.
So since I'm with Squez, like this is the first time. I mean, yes, we did the Viking thing, and that's a little different. But like now that I'm with Squez, we do probably a lot of like duos, and it's not necessarily like male and female, but like for Halloween last year we did Mario and Luigi, which worked. And we're getting ready to do, because we got the hats for them, which are right there, but I'm afraid it might topple stuff. We got the hats for Wario and Waluigi, because Wario is my favorite. So we're gonna do that soon. So I think it would be some kind of something that related, like if we were gonna do Mega Man, which I'm about to print him a Mega Man suit as soon as I find my ratchet set and get that printer set up. But he's gonna have a Buster and all of that thing. I don't know. I'm not that well versed in Mega Man. I'm so sorry. But whoever, like, I like Zero. Is that his name? The red guy.
I don't know Mega Man very well. I'm sorry.
I like him, so I might try and make a suit like his. Like, you know, for one suit, give or take, and we're not skinny people, takes about 15 rolls of filament. If you're 3D printing most of it, which Mega Man is kind of like, he's a robot, so you kind of need to. 15 rolls of filament, they're $24 a piece, so you can do the math. It would cost a lot of money to do that. So like, I don't think it matters who specifically, if money was no object. I just think as long as we are having fun creating the thing, you know, and like if filament just grew on trees, like that's what we would just make everything and anything, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
and because
as long as you're having fun doing it,
who likes to do that, it would make it more fun.
Yeah. And that's what's important, is as long as you love doing it with your significant other, like that's what the thing is. Squez, the bot, I can't get it.
Is it in mine?
No, I think it's the NerdTube kick.
Okay.
So unless you have your kick added in here too, but
I don't remember.
It's okay. It doesn't look like you do. So
okay.
Unfortunately, I don't get into kick very often, so I can't really block them or anything like that. So I can't really get rid of it. But anyway,
maybe Zam could.
Knee jerk reaction. That's okay. Well, your knee can be a jerk. It's okay. As long as your heart's not a jerk to Winnie.
No, he's great.
I know he is. He gives me progress reports every couple days. So
oh my Jesus. So now we're gonna go on to cruises.
No, actually, well, I did want to talk really quick about TwitchCon.
Oh, okay.
Since we are both involved in TwitchCon, I've seen a little bit of TwitchCon. I don't know what you've seen of TwitchCon, but is that something you would be interested in doing with Squez?
Squez would, so I would go. I don't know, because there's that thing that says never meet your heroes. And sometimes in real life, people aren't the Twitch streamer. There's a Twitch streamer,
and then there's a person,
and then there's a person. And I've met some people from Twitch in real life, and they're not who I wanted them to be, you know? So it's like, do I want
me, for instance,
go and ruin that? Do I want to go and ruin that, you know? So that's my problem. And I have a problem too. I don't know if it's because even though I'm liberal, I'm from Ohio, we're still a little bit more conservative than like the bigger cities. And some of the things like the drugs and the drinking is not my favorite thing. And when you get sloppy drunk or whatever, it's not fun for me. And that's kind of how TwitchCon turns into. And I'm not a huge fan of that, you know?
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, you don't like there's a difference, because like when I go out and I drink, I mean, I just do it to loosen up a little bit. I don't do it to get blackout drunk. I don't do it to go and you know, like lose control and just blame it on the booze, you know, like I
Yeah.
just like to loosen up, have a good time. So I mean, but a lot of people have a problem managing that, and that's where you get those people that are just out of control and they make everybody's time miserable
And then you see
or
a lot of
entertaining.
videos of people that you thought you liked, and they're being horrifying. Like we just had that happen. Somebody who used to make stuff for Squez, his shop and stuff, like artwork, basically did this horrifying thing. And it's like, if this is who you really are, and I've been like following you and giving you money and whatever else all this time, I don't know. I don't know if it's better to meet these people and find that out, or just never find out.
But that's kind of like with me. Remember how earlier I said, like, you know, like I don't like doing pictures. I don't necessarily like to meet, like, you know, like celebrities. Like I don't feel like I'm
Yeah.
enriched by meeting, because they're human beings. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you kind of learn that, where it's like, you know, yeah, like their persona in front of the camera, whether it's Twitch, whether it's movies, TV shows, is
Mhm.
sometimes starkly different than the ones that you meet in the real life. And
Yeah.
unless they're able to really like manage that, like kayfabe's are you familiar with kayfabe in wrestling?
A
Like
little
unless
bit, yeah.
they're able to keep that kayfabe, like even during
Mhm.
like, you know, like cons and stuff like that, like some
Mhm.
people can't. So I mean, no, you're right. I mean, there are people where you meet them and they're actually sweeter than you thought they ever could be. But then there are
Mhm.
also a lot of people that you meet and you're like, wow, you really are not what I was expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, some people are just jaded sometimes. You know, like some people just they're in there because they got to earn a living. And but think about that when we're at our jobs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like when we're at our jobs, like we're not the most pleasant people all the time.
Yeah.
So but again, I don't blame that on them, because again, we're human, we
Mhm.
fluctuate.
Absolutely.
But that's also why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to meet these people, because I have this idea of them and I'm okay with
Mhm.
having that idea of them.
Yeah.
I'm not holding them on a pedestal, but I'm like, I truly enjoy their work.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why I don't go to a lot of cons anymore, just because I'm kind of like that, where I'm like,
Like
yeah,
more realistic.
yeah, I try to be more realistic about it, where it's like other people that when they start holding these people on a pedestal, I'm like, you're just gonna get let down. You
Mhm.
really are, you know? Like, so
And
all
again,
right.
there's streamer people, and then there's their real selves, and that's lots of times not the same person. Or for me, if I once I'm done streaming, I'm exhausted, like sometimes, and I just want to go lay down and watch a movie. And so if you see me during that time where I'm just overwhelmed by something, it's not gonna be the same Winnie as somebody like the girl that's talking right now on stream.
Yeah. And that
And
same
that could
thing.
rub you wrong.
Yeah. And that, as I said, you know, people are human, they fluctuate. You know,
Mhm.
but you know what, that's the thing, is that you're also human. You're allowed to be that way.
Mhm.
You know, it's just how you treat other people when you're in that, you know, that mode. So like I can walk up to somebody and then be completely kind of like worn out and jaded, and I can see that. I
Mhm.
don't expect them to be like, "Oh man, thank you so much for coming out and blah blah blah, and I love you so much." And like,
Yeah.
you know, you might get that if they're having a good day, or you might get, "Hey, thanks for coming out." You know, hey, hey, don't cut in line. You know, you'll get those guys, or you know,
Mhm.
so I refuse to
Until
believe
that
that
one
Winnie is anything
person,
other than pleasant, but I mean, you know.
and he worked with me in a really stressful environment. So
Who, me?
yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that
that place
one
was,
place was stressful.
yep. All right.
The only
So
person I ever met that was like nice every time was Katie Sackhoff.
I could see her being very nice.
She not that she was always like overacting, because there were definitely times where she wasn't, you know, feeling it. You could tell, but she still was very nice. And I really I appreciate that.
And I mean, you can tell when somebody appreciates the fan base. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you can tell when somebody is like, "Hey, they like a lot of Star Trek actors, like, you know, some of them. Well, a lot. I would say at least a decent amount of them appreciate their fan base, because they're like, they brought me to the game, they brought me to notoriety. You
Mhm.
know, some actors don't like the Star
Yeah,
Trek fan base.
exactly. Jason Momoa for one. You think he's this big, nice bear, but he's not all the time. When I spent $300 to meet him, it was not the experience I thought it was going to be. You know.
And he was what, on Stargate, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, you can tell when somebody appreciates their fan base a lot because, you know, and you can tell who's there for the money. And again, I get it. Like you're not going to
make money. I get it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not pleasant every day when I go to work. So, I mean, I understand that for them, but when you're in kind of like that fan base, you kind of have to play that kayfabe part. And yeah, you don't have to be like super excited every person that walks up. Like, you know, every person's a new adventure, but it's just like, you got to be pleasant at least. You got to be like, hey, thanks for coming out. You know, I truly appreciate you stopping in. I truly appreciate you watching and supporting, blah, blah, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we do on Twitch when people like give us a subscription. I mean, that is money out of their pocket that they're giving to giving to us to support us from playing, you know, video games or talking or whatever. And I mean, it's like, you know, you truly learn to appreciate that when you actually, like, if you're working a job, you don't really see the money, you know, the money doesn't go into your account. It just comes from a paycheck. When you're doing like streaming and stuff like that, when people sub and like on YouTube, when people become members, like that's direct money to you. And you're like, that kind of gives you that kind of appreciation. So, I mean, you know, even as YouTubers and Twitch streamers, like we kind of get it, you know, but at the same time, it's also, I also get when you get burnt out, you know, like I could have somebody come by and like, I could be having a really rough day and, don't, gift 10 gifted subs. And like, sometimes I'm just like, you have some people on Twitch and go, oh my God, oh Jesus, oh, there's a gifted subs. Oh. And then there are some that are like, oh, thank you so much for the gifted subs. I truly appreciate it. Like, you just got to learn to mitigate those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cruises, have you ever gone on a cruise? I have not.
I have not, but my parents have recently. Like, it's been their favorite thing because you don't ever have to leave the boat if you don't want to. And recently, this is like...
And sometimes if there's COVID, you never get to leave the boat.
Yeah, that's also true. But so I just like randomly the past couple weeks, if you have Disney Plus, they have like, this is how our cruise ships are made. Which for me is very interesting.
I love that is kind of, I might actually check that out. That is kind of
it's like behind the magic. They also have that of like, this is how we made Halloween for, Magic Castle or whatever, and so they had, this is how our cruise ship was made. And they have a cruise ship that has Haunted Mansion stuff on it, which is one of my favorite things of all time. And so like, they show you like, here's how we get the dancing fish. And it's just like, holographic stuff and stuff. So like for me, for a cruise, Squez can't swim. And not that that's like a huge thing because you're on a boat like that's contained. Like you can go all the way to the balcony if you want to, but you don't have to.
Is he afraid of water or is he just can't swim?
He just can't swim.
Okay. Not trying to get personal, but I'm like, there's a difference there. Like there, some people just can't swim.
Are not, they can swim and they're okay swimming in pools, like public or swimming pools, but the ocean is scary to them.
That's me. Like the ocean is scary to me, but like I don't like the ocean. Like you can't see what's down there. You can't so that's why I'm like, yeah, like a public clear pool. There's no sharks in there,
I just want to say sharks get a bad rep from Shark Week. I'm just going to throw that out there. You all know how much I love my ocean.
No, I'm not just talking about great whites. So I mean, no, bull sharks and tiger sharks are very aggressive.
Only if they're hungry.
Well, how do I know they're not hungry?
Do you watch the videos of the divers going down there and like the one shark recognizes this diver and like just goes up to him and wants pets? Like, anyway,
it's like, my food's giving me some pets before I eat them.
Anyway, so, I don't know if Squez would like it. I think if like we stayed within, because once you're on a boat like that, and I've never been on a cruise, but apparently once you're on the boat, like in it, you don't feel like you're not on land. Like it's so big that it sort of like levels itself out unless there's a storm or something.
And I wouldn't be scared of a cruise only because there's enough there's enough life rafts. This isn't like the Titanic. There's
Yeah.
enough life rafts for everybody to get off. Again, I'm not scared of being on a cruise like where it's the water is far away from me. Like, and as I said, but
Mhm.
yeah, like going in the ocean and stuff. No, sharks are coming closer and closer into land every
Yeah.
year, and I'm just like, nope, 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 nope. But yeah, cruise is fine for me. As I said, even if we get even if something happens and the cruise ship sinks, like there's enough life raft or lifeboats for everybody.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
I would love to do a Star Trek cruise. I've heard so many good things about a Star Trek cruise.
Okay, but my question is that like a Disney cruise is different than the rest of them because it's all included. It's a Disney cruise. I don't know how other cruises work. Like the
Star
Disney
Trek is all Star Trek. Like it is all
like,
Star
so when
Trek.
you walk down the halls, is it like in the Disney cruise, when you walk down a hall on a certain hall, it looks like, you're going into Belle's castle?
I honestly don't know. I'd have to.
Is
I don't
it
know that part of
different?
it. I've watched.
Or is it just Star Trek stuff on a cruise boat?
It might be. I think it's a little of both. I think there are some like there's some. It's kind of like almost like a little bit of a con,
On a
like a
boat?
mini con
Okay.
on a boat. I know there are themed rooms on these
Okay.
boats, but again, I like the whole hallway thing. Like I doubt it.
Like
But I have not seen
Disney,
it.
like once you watch that thing, you'll see that it's like there's no mistaking that this is a Disney cruise.
But yeah, but
Every
that's also
doorknob
Disney.
has a seashell or something depending on the theme of the room. Every restaurant is from a movie, like the one I just watched had an Encanto restaurant, which looks amazing, and I'd be eating tacos there every day. Like, so, and then there's some like there was just a crafty cruise, and it was just we crafted on a cruise ship. Like it didn't. It's not necessarily the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and as I said, I mean, like from what I've like seen and read, like and the Star Trek actors, like they're on the boat, like they're
Mhm.
walking around like normal people. They're, you can go up and talk to them, and obviously you need to be respectful of their time. You can't just sit there
Absolutely,
and
because they're on vacation too, sort of.
kind of, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like a paid vacation for them where they just got to speak once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But like they, they're, but I've heard like there are actors that go on these cruises and you see them out on the deck all the
Mm-hmm.
time. They're always talking to people, and then there are some that, are like, I know, who was it? I don't remember who it was. Like Avery Brooks said he won't do any of it. Like the guy who plays Cisco, just because he's like,
Uh-huh.
I don't think he respects the Star Trek fan base. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he does. He's my favorite captain. Cisco's my favorite captain. I love his character. The actor, not so much. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's one of those that's kind of like that. But I do respect the fact that he doesn't do cons because he's like, I don't want to do all that. And you know what? I'd rather him not do it if he
Yeah,
doesn't want to be there.
absolutely.
So I respect that. Do I agree with it? No, but I respect the fact that he's like, I'm not doing all that. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with all that. Where it's like you got guys like Michael Dorn who plays Worf, who this brought him to the game. This gave him a
Mm-hmm.
job for 15 years,
Absolutely.
and he appreciates the fan base. You can tell, and he wore prosthetics all over him for
Uh-huh.
years.
Like the Green Ranger was another one who
Yeah,
really loved being
a part of
around
that fan
in
base.
the fans and loving.
Oh, God rest. Oh, God
I
rest
know.
his soul. I miss him.
I know, me too.
Um,
But yeah, so I think, and then again, as a couple, I mean, you're just walking around a ship, probably drinking, and as long as you were respectful and normal, I don't think it would make a difference from a regular vacation. Do you?
I mean, no, not really. It would just be your vacation where there's like special speakers and you got to, you get to have themed meals and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I'm sure that they've got a whole slew of things planned out. I just don't. You're right. A Disney cruise is probably far superior and different to anything else. You know what I mean? So like
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I get that Disney would be the biggest bang for your buck, but I'm pretty sure you're spending a ton of money on a Disney cruise.
Yeah, it's way more money because a normal, like lots of other cruises. There was an Impractical Jokers cruise, which I don't know if you know who they are, but
Yeah, I know the practice. I mean, I know of them. I don't.
I love them. But the cruise was only like if you got a small room or whatever with just you and one other person, it was $500 a person for a week. Like that's not like it costs us more to go from Ohio to DC and rent hotel room, you know, and that's before we did anything else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really not cruises overall are really not that expensive. But a Disney cruise is different because, like I said, on the one they showed like you're eating at a restaurant with Captain America, whoever the latest one is. I don't know anybody's names. But
Sam Wilson.
yes.
Or are you talking about the actor?
The actor.
Oh, Anthony Mackie.
Yes, him. So he like did a like got dressed up in uniform one day and recorded stuff that was about that restaurant, you know. Like it's a very different thing, and I think we would have a lot of fun on something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And that actually, one of the Marvel Star Wars Day at Sea things is, I think they're kind of like, I put it on the list but I think it's something they're kind of testing the waters with to see if like there's enough of a draw where, you know, they can do like a full on cruise with like actual, like, you know, kind of like Star Trek, like actual actors coming in and special guests and everything, kind of doing that whole thing like Star Trek has been doing for years. So I honestly, that would be kind of fun. It just, they'd have to go all in on it rather than,
well, again, their cruises seem to be, and I only know what I know from the shows they have on their thing. They don't even have to have the actors because, you know, they can just pay them to come in for a day and act, and then they put him on the wall or something, or he's a hologram somewhere, or you know.
Yeah, I think that's lazy. I think I would rather have like an actual like
a con. And see, Disney is not doing that because you know they
got the money. They can do it.
They don't have to. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I mean, but see, the thing with the Disney one, I'm talking about Marvel Star Wars specific rather than like Disney specific. Like, I feel like there is a difference there.
There is a difference, but it doesn't seem like, I don't think Disney, because the top people at Disney do not know that there's a difference. And that's the reason I say this, is because they mix a lot of things like that. Like, why is Captain whoever have anything to do with, you know, Encanto? Like, that doesn't make any sense to, you know?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, they do the same thing in Disney World. Like, they'll mix like all of the, with the exception of maybe Hollywood Studios, they'll mix everything. Like,
and it's like I have a keychain with Captain America shield on it with the Elastigirl from Incredibles, and it's like, that doesn't really work for me, but because it's not technically the same, you know.
Yeah, no, and I get that. But I think that could be interesting if they actually went all in on it and like actually did, like, you know, brought actors in and did themes and stuff like that. But again, you know, I don't think you're ever going to top a Disney cruise. Like, you gotta, like you said, you literally have to build a cruise ship from the ground up. And again, Disney has the money, and these two are owned by Disney. I think they're testing the waters to see if there's enough interest in something like this where they should invest. Because I agree. Like, I don't want to go on a Disney cruise and like, oh, Captain America shows up, or oh, Ray Skywalker shows up. Yeah, I said it. Ray Skywalker.
Just leaving that alone, but okay.
Ray Palpatine then. I don't know. Anyway, but like, you know what? Like, I think they're just kind of testing the waters, and they could build a cruise ship from the ground up that is Marvel or Star Wars or both based.
I think it would work. I really do think there's enough people, because Marvel's gotten extremely popular over the last 15 years. So I think it would be fine. But right now, like I said, the people at Disney don't necessarily, they just know that they own it. So they're like, hey, let's throw all this stuff together that we own, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I get it from a financial standpoint, but I really feel like, I honestly feel like that would take away from the Disney experience on a Disney cruise. Yes. You know what I mean? Not everybody who loves Disney loves Marvel, loves Star Wars.
The cartoons, you're not really going to give a crap about Captain America, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I'm like,
only are a Disney person.
Yeah, that's why I think Disney and Pixar should stay on their own cruise ship, and then like if you do like a Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I think that we would have fun. Like I said, I think it would take Squez a minute to get over that we're on the in the middle of the ocean and surrounded by water on.
We'll get him a thunder vest.
Okay.
What are those thunder vests that you put on and like it's weighted and it's supposed to make you feel.
And it calms people down.
But then when he realizes that with a weighted vest on, if he falls overboard, he'll sink.
Oh my Jesus! They're trying to kill your daddy. And Leo Bear's right here.
I thought you just called Squez daddy. Okay, I mean, I'm like, hey, whatever.
Oh, that's also weird, but okay. So yeah, I think as a couple, like I said, I went to one con with my ex. I just think once he got outside of his house, he was just always uncomfortable places, but he tried, but sometimes like recently with a couple friends, they were doing a shopping day, which I hate shopping unless I'm at like the Nintendo store. I hate it. And they were like shopping for clothes, like normal clothes. And I'm like, not really interested, but I tried, but you could tell that I wasn't like interested because I was just trying to be a normal person. So I think
your significant other also needs to understand, like, if it's not your thing, like, and I'm not saying this about Squaz, I'm just saying this in general. If it's not your thing, you can't expect them to act excited. Like, they can be excited with you.
Yeah.
But
if they don't love Mario as much as I do, they just know that he exists and they're happy for me.
Well, that's like you and Mega Man. Like if you went to, let's say there's a Mega Man con. Like let's just say there's a Mega Man con in DC and Squez, and I'm sure you don't have this problem. I'm using it as an example, but it's like Squez has to realize that he's going to be super like uber excited. You're going to be like, I'm very happy for you and I am here for you.
Yes. And I will go out of line and get us pops. But
yes. But that doesn't mean you're going to be like doing cartwheels about everything Mega Man, like, and that's, as I said, as long as your significant other's not bringing down the tone of what you're feeling, that's what I think. I see a lot of people that are like, why are you not more excited? It's not my thing. Like I am excited for you. I'm glad we are here. I'm glad you're happy, but I'm like, I don't have the same love for that. It's like Harry Potter, like I was talking about that vacation. Before Hogwarts Legacy, I was more than willing to go to Harry Potter World. I'd be like, I'll go and I'll go and I'll participate.
Cool. You would find something though, because you'd see the magic, which is like the holograms and the cool lighting stuff, and so you could get excited about that.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not going to be jumping jack joy about it just because I'm like, I don't, like it's not really my thing. But I'm not going to bring your mood down and try to make you feel bad.
Exactly. And so my ex was kind of like that, but Squez is not.
That's good.
So it's more fun to do these kinds of things. Like recently we went to play the Nintendo Switch 2. And then we went to, which if you go on my YouTube, that video is up if you want to see anything about that trip. But we also went to the Nintendo store, which is a destination in and of itself. I know we're in the middle of or really close to Times Square and like New York itself is a spectacle, but like going to the Nintendo store and seeing Mario on the flagpole, like in the middle of the store, and Bowser is like looming by the cash register, like that was one of my favorite trips. Like I don't know, like it was a one-day vacation, I guess, but we had so much fun going there and buying all the things that that were there. They had Pikmin, like I got Pikmin and Captain Olimar here from Pikmin. I got we could see Zelda. They had in the middle of the store, it was like it felt like you were at Universal or like a theme park, but it was just a smaller store at New York City. But we had the best time just walking around, looking at all, we took pictures with all the things. They had built into the wall, like a TV screen, but it was like this big, and it changed to the different characters of their game. So at one point there, it was just Wario, which was crazy because he's not usually you'd see Mario more likely, I would think, but it was Wario. So I took my picture with Wario behind me. And Squez was all about it. Yeah, let's get this picture. Cause he knows he likes Nintendo. He's a Nintendo person, but like I like that trip, that part of the trip definitely was more of a me thing, you know?
Yep. No, and that again, that it's all about the attitude, and as I said, if somebody's going into it thinking I'm going to have a bad time with this, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a bad time. You at least
Mm-hmm.
need to be like, I'm going to go with my person. I'm going to watch them having the time of their life, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to enjoy that.
Yes, and I love seeing them smile, you know?
So, just one or two other things I wanted to touch on. We don't have to talk about it too awful much, but I
Okay.
noticed during my research that in Huntsville, Alabama, actually had a decent amount of like space stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and the U.S. Marshall Space Flight Center.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to go and do stuff like that. When I was in Orlando for Disney, I did want to go to the Kennedy Space Center. I didn't make it there, unfortunately, but I did want to, and I was kind of looking into it, but we just didn't have time, with
Right.
all the Disney stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, and I know you go to like the Air and Space Museum in
Uh-huh.
DC
We
and all
actually
that.
have two. So we would, again, Chris doesn't necessarily like that, but that's like machines and stuff are my wheelhouse. And I love trains and planes and automobiles. I don't know, like I feel like autistic people all have that one trait in common. But yeah, I could see us again doing stuff like that. That is definitely nerdy, but in a different kind of way than the gaming stuff, you know.
There was one other place in Huntsville that I saw that was called Pints and Pixels, and we do have barcades. Like we do have
Oh,
barcades around here, but apparently this place is huge. It has like tons of arcade games, and I think they're free. I think like you have to
oh,
obviously be a patron and buy alcohol, but from what I
yeah.
was looking at, it looked like it was free gaming, but you obviously had to at least buy alcohol while you were there.
Also,
So
not too far away in Atlanta is the Georgia Aquarium. So, like,
mhm.
you could make a whole nerdy thing out of just that trip.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean aquariums
you could
are.
find
Listen,
stuff.
I'm okay with aquariums. As I said, I'm not in the water.
Yeah.
So.
I did see where you could swim with the whale sharks, and I probably will do that one day. But while Squez is on the outside of the tank, like,
I'll say, me and Squez will speak fondly of you when when you're eaten by a
whale
shark.
sharks are they inhale their food like
I know.
whales, so they don't have, and the only teeth they have are around their eyes. So
Teeth in their eyes?
yeah, it's to
Ah,
help protect their eyes.
oh, okay.
It's just how they evolved. No one knows why. Evolution is silly sometimes. But yeah, so see, nerdy tangent again. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, that's another great location that's right there. Like you could, I was going to say with Huntsville, Alabama, like you could plan a whole weekend, a whole probably couple
Yeah,
days out that way,
yeah.
like that.
And it's Alabama.
That's
I've
why,
been to Alabama for Talladega. There's not a whole hell of a lot more than in Alabama.
yeah,
So
but that's why I was like, wow, there's a bunch of stuff in Alabama that I was like, so that's why I gave it its own section. Cause I was like, wow, there's a bunch of stuff.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so just a couple destination vacations. We've already touched on some of these, so I mean, we don't have to talk about them too much. So Washington D.C., like Winnie, this is
Yes.
you. I mean, like give us your like top 5 places to visit in Washington.
Oh my
Like
gosh, that's
because
so
you've done the whole rigmarole, right?
yes.
Or are you okay?
Yes. So my favorite, of course, is the Air and Space Museum. Now there's 2 of them. There's one that you have to get time tickets for, which is the main one. And when you walk around, I'm sure I've got pictures on Instagram of them. But when you're walking in this, you get to go into like a space shuttle. You get to go in planes. There's a whole room that looks like Mars. So, and it has like one of the copies of the Mars rover in there. And it has just like space. It's just space. It's so cool. And like there's a big thing that looks like the moon, and like the way they have it colored, it just feels like you're in space. So that I would recommend, but you do have to have time tickets for. We have one in Northern Virginia too, and you can just walk in, and it's just planes mainly, but it's still pretty cool. So those places, I would also say for nerdiness, the Postal Museum, because it talks about the post office and where it started, and It also has planes in there from like the first planes we used to carry post, it tells you like why zip codes are the way they are. So,
That would be interesting. I have no idea.
You
And
know?
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No spoilers.
Yeah, because me and the kids have talked about going to Washington. My son, because his DC trip didn't happen because of COVID. And
Oh.
I went, and during my DC, like in school, my DC trip was I was in Alaska. Like I went with the scouts to Alaska. So I had to choose between DC and Alaska, and I chose Alaska, which don't get me wrong, I loved going to Alaska. It was a phenomenal trip. But I still would like to make it to DC. So me and the kids have talked about taking a DC trip for my son and myself. My daughter has been to DC, but it'd be nice to kind of do it as a family.
And like it's a beautiful spot. So if you guys ever need like help or like want to know what to do, but so the other thing, like the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, it's right there on the mall. Like you can see the backside of it in the National Mall. You do not need tickets for this. And so you can just walk right in whenever you want to. When you first walk in, there's a huge like elephant. If you keep walking through, if you're walking through the front, then they have like a whale shark, like a actual like anatomically correct whale shark, and they have jellyfish, and they have like that are in resin, and all kinds of things that like I would definitely recommend. On the second or third floor, the Hope Diamond is there, and they tell you how diamonds are made, and there's a whole place of like taxidermied like animals and lions and giraffes and all kinds of things, so you can actually see what these things look like. That for me is like a really fun place, and again can definitely be extremely nerdy.
Yeah, I mean it definitely gives you that scope and scale of things as well.
And it's really cool because most Americans are never going to be close to a giraffe, so this is a way to see, oh my gosh, their necks are 30 foot long, and then
we got one more. Come on, you can do
one more. I know, it's just so hard because I love them all. It depends. So like lots of DC is about the history of America. So
you want to go to the White House and meet the president? I know it.
No, I don't want no. So I would say, let me think real quick. I would say maybe like the Jefferson Building of the Library of Congress, because there are books in there that are older, like I was looking at books that were from like the 1500s in there, which is amazing that we were able to keep them up. But you can see all different kinds of books. You can, if you get the researcher's tag, which is really not that hard to get, you could actually go into the library and study things. They have cool events. So yeah, I guess that's another one that like fits like more in the nerdy and not just history. Is the going to the Library of Congress. It's a really beautiful building and has lots of cool nerdy book things. So for you book lovers.
So question about, so Squez has lived in DC for how long?
I think since he was a teenager. We're 36.
Okay. So what's it like going through DC with you who really haven't, I mean, you've been there before, obviously, but like, how was the dynamic between him living there for like, since he was a teenager versus you who was like still relatively new to all of it, like living in like this whole, so like, what is the dynamic there between, because like, yes, you guys live there.
He couldn't care less about DC. Like, we technically live in Northern Virginia, so right outside of DC. But he's like, I've gone to DC more in this first 3 months with you than I have the whole time I've been here. And so for me, because I used to make sure I had at least one vacation there every year, I like, yeah, it's a whole different thing. He's like, now going with you is a whole different thing, because like watching your face light up as you see all these things and are, able to like be 2 feet away from a moon sample. Like, he's like, I can't believe how like excited you are over that. Like it's a different thing because I want to see you be excited, you know.
And but
So,
that's what we've been talking about this whole time. That's super
mhm.
important, and that's
Yes.
good on you, Squez. But that's the important part, is like he is excited for you. Maybe he's not excited anymore. The magic is gone for him, which is okay because that
Yes.
happens.
Yeah.
But
Like,
he is now excited because you are excited, and he
yes. So
likes
he's got
your
like this
happiness.
renewed thing just because I love it. Like, we went to the zoo to see the pandas, which are at the front of the zoo, but I don't know if you know this. The zoo is really big, like bigger than Cleveland. Like, you think you're walking a lot there. This one's bigger. But the last time we were there, I've only been to this zoo. This was my second time. I didn't get to go in because we were doing a scavenger hunt. I didn't get to go into where they had the fish and the like rainforest because
You didn't
we have
wander
the
in the lion's
rainforest.
den.
No, I tried. They wouldn't let me. um, but we have the Cleveland Zoo has this beautiful rainforest like place, and so they have one there at the National Zoo. That's like a sixth one, I would say, and it's easy to get tickets the day of. But they have this. It was like you could see eels and you could see, and they were just in fish tanks, like normal fish tanks. So it was really cool to be that close to them. Squest is like, poor Squez. It was a lot of walking. We're old. We're getting like tired of all the like. It's not the same as like when we were 20 doing these things, you know.
Mhm. Now you
Like,
need little scooters to ride around in.
yeah, like we're almost to that point now. But like that was on the exact opposite end. Like, we could have just gone in, seen the pandas, because that's a new thing, and like I guess we stole the original pandas, and so we had to do it the right way, which is, you know,
Probably a good idea to do
yeah,
things the right way instead of
yes,
stealing things that are indigenous to
yes,
other areas.
yes. And so now we have pandas
I'm
like
looking at you,
legally
UK, stealing people from other countries.
on good terms. Um, and so that was the main thing, because I don't know that it doesn't feel like we're gonna have them forever. And then like also they're threatening to pull their federal funding. So who the hell knows, like, not to get political, but like we have all of that with all of our museums right now. We're worried about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
not to
wanted,
get political, but that is scary because all these animals, and as I said, what happened to the animals? Do they just go back
yeah,
to they've been bred in captivity.
yeah, they
Like
don't know
they can't just release them into the wild.
exactly. And so, like, these pandas, like, so I wanted to make sure that we saw the pandas, you know, because I don't know how long they're going to stay. We don't know. Like, I went to the African History Museum just to go on a slight tangent, and there was like lots of exhibits that were gone because they were saying that they wanted to preserve them, but that's not why they were gone. And it was just so I had to get to the zoo, and then I'm like, well, we didn't get to do this fish part, so let's do this. But he, poor soul, walked all the way to the other end. Like, it's like a mile, I would say, of walking just to get to there. And he didn't care. He was just like holding my candy while I'm like looking at all the animals and like being excited about the arapama fish that are, you know, as big as my table. Like, just looking at them and looking at their pretty scales and stuff. And he's like, doesn't just along for the ride. So,
Hey, I mean, but that's the good. That
mhm,
is very good. As I said, somebody who can appreciate your excitement rather than only worried about their excitement.
yes.
So yes, DC definitely a place. As I said, I want to visit soon. New Zealand is a place, at least for me, that these are the first couple that came to mind. That's why they're top on this list.
Yeah.
New Zealand for the Lord of the Rings filming locations. They have they have a whole Hobbiton set up. They've got
Yeah.
like there's whole
That would
things
be
set up.
awesome. So like these are definitely things that we could plan, you know. And I would absolutely do any of these things. I don't know. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings, not as much as maybe you do, but I would still like feeling like a hobbit in Hobbiton, you know. Like, and I used to, like, when I was little, and random story, I couldn't read until about third grade, like not one word because of foster care. And the first book I ever read, like by myself, was on J.R.R. Tolkien. That was the first book I ever read. So I was able to read. I read that, and it talks about how he came up with the hobbits and how he came up with this world, and it was only like this thick, but it was still like a chapter book, and it was still from about third grade is when I I really love this. So yeah, I could see us planning a trip to these places.
I have a really hard time reading, and I'm in 35th grade. So I mean, I feel you there. But you obviously do a lot better now than I do, because I'm not a reader.
I just like to read. I just like to feel like sometimes real life is hard. So if you read books, even if it's just Japanese manga where it's mostly pictures or comic books, you get to be out of that world for a minute.
Reading's reading. You know what I mean? For me, that's what it is. I mean, I read manga, I read comic books.
Like I have this book that is no pictures, and then I have all of my anime. So it's sorry, I didn't mean to make that loud, but it's I really love to read. Once I figured it out, I was like, this is all I want to do. I'm learning about things, even though this is not real, or Lord of the Rings, which I have that too over there, are not real. You're learning about different worlds and being imaginative. And Squez and I, lots of times I'll read to him, and it will be talking about this world that we're sort of living, I call it living in. When you're in a book like this for a while, you're kind of living in these worlds, and then we imagine hey, this also could happen in this world, or what, so it's kind of a vacation in and of itself.
I mean, hey, the NASA Kennedy Space Center, which I've already said I really wanted to go. I was trying to go when I was in Orlando, but I didn't make it. But just again, a day, it's just one of those things where it's just I'd love, if for some reason I'm down in Orlando again, when we're talking about Universal, going to Universal and everything, it'd be nice to take a day and go,
again, that's more of a me thing, but Squez would happily go.
Yeah. The National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. I was looking at pictures of this, and I mean, it is just a really nice looking place. It's just got a lot of video game, memorabilia, and it's got old. What?
I was trying to think. I was thinking about your on the same lines. I saw something in one of the Smithsonian's that was talking about Nintendo, but I don't remember why and where. So anyway, it was just it was my brain.
That looked like it would be like a nice one day,
let's
destination.
Go out here and see things.
Warner Brothers Studio tour in London for Harry Potter. So I mean they have a lot of attraction.
That might be cooler, to be honest, because those people actually have English accents and stuff.
Yeah. The Hall of Heroes Museum in Eckhart, Indiana. This place just kind of, again, it looked like kind of just like a day trip, couple hours maybe, where it's got
for you it's probably only maybe 3 hours.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just just a bunch of superheroes and probably a bunch of information and just probably memorabilia and stuff like that, which again, I'm all for. Now it was announced just a couple months ago that a new Dragon Ball world was going to be built in Japan.
So this would be the time that I wouldn't be excited, but Squez would lose his shit.
Me and Squez are going. We're going there. We're gonna hold hands while we go and go to Master Roshi's house. I don't have really any details on this. I know I've saw like imagery of it, the plans, but when that opens up and an opportunity presents itself, I might be going to Japan. Oh God, could you imagine me in Japan?
Can you imagine any of us in Japan? Oh my God, look. Because do you realize that every region has a Pokemon? Every you can, when you're in that region and you look at a manhole, there might be a Pikachu on that manhole because that's the state Pokemon. They don't have state birds, they have state Pokemon.
Squaz, when you can keep an eye on Leo Bear, we can FaceTime with him. Me and you, we'll go to Dragon Ball. But yeah, no, that's one that kind of perked my ears. I was like, "Ooh," I said that might be something. I don't know if I'd ever make it over to Japan. Like, let's be real. Like, that's almost literally the other side of the world.
Yes.
You know, I think China, is like literally on the other side of the world from us, but like
Mhm.
it's just a little bit of northeast from there, like so.
Right.
And then the one you've already talked about that's already that you have on here is the New York City Nintendo store. Do you have any? I mean, I know you talked about it a little bit already, but that's
It's a fun day trip.
Mhm.
Because I think there's something Harry Potter, or at least there used to be something Harry Potter there. There's the catacombs you could go see. So, if you just wanted to make a day trip to New York City, like spending a couple hours, like you can easily spend a couple hours in the Nintendo store and be happy because, like each section when you walk in, it's like Nintendo brand T-shirts and stuff, and then a little beyond that, it's got like their flagship stuff. So there's Mario. There's they only had one, which is understandable, one small thing of Pikmin stuff, but like there's statues around. Like it's really neat to see, just to go there for a couple hours. Yeah, it was so much fun. Like we went there first in the morning, and then we had to get in line at 1:30 or something. So we left there and walked to the event, which we got to see the Nintendo Switch 2. We were there for a couple hours, and then we actually went back because we didn't want to. We wanted to go to the store to see what there was, and then the second we didn't want to carry all that crap around for all day, so we then went back just to because we knew where all the stuff was that we wanted, and like yeah, so it's a good couple hour. You could spend easily a couple hours in there. They have the center of the store. They have like every Nintendo console ever. So that's kind of cool if you're interested in that.
Even like the Super Famicom or
They had
nice.
everything. And so there's that. There's sometimes where they play games. I don't know if you know this. Sometimes when there's new releases of games and you buy them from them, like they have like events where you're playing Splatoon against other people when it first comes out, so they like you could make a whole like at least a few hours out of that, and we did, and it was fun.
Nice. I mean, look, I'm sure you were in heaven. I'm sure Squez was in heaven. Like, I mean, and again, for me, I mean, I would enjoy it. I'm one of those people. The problem with me is I'm one of those people that like I don't outwardly show my excitement. Like I can be having a great time and I'll be flat faced. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, because like someone's like, "Are you even having a good time?" Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. Like what? Like, oh, you just don't seem very excited. I'm like, that's not
Yeah, and that's
not how I express my
right.
excitement.
Like where I'm outwardly like sobbing because there's all these, like Pikachu is standing next to me in the Nintendo store, and Squez is like taking pictures, like he's a dad taking pictures of his little girl because he knows that she's excited about this, and I'm like, it says clearly on it, "Do not touch Pikachu," and I'm like, in my pictures, and so like, yeah, it's one of those things where you just gotta. In a relationship, you just gotta do it. You just gotta go with the flow,
So, all right. Well, that kind of wraps up the topic. Anything else we want to add before we wrap it up here? I mean,
we're gonna be back. So this month I had like pneumonia, which I'm still like I muted it so you didn't have to hear the gross coughing, but like I'm still trying to get over that. So I'm hoping to be back on a normal schedule for this. In about
me too. I mean, this past month has just been crazy for me too. With my son, that's one thing that's happened. My son's
graduating.
last day of school was yesterday. Last
like
day.
His last day.
Last day. So he is graduate. So this month's been about graduation. My daughter just got her driver's license on Wednesday.
I saw that.
Like, I mean, so yeah, I guess I really underplayed in the beginning, like what I had going on. No, work and no, there's been a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. And I understood that. And then also when I'm sick, like especially when my throat is that sore, I am not doing anything. So yeah, now that we're getting better, and all the things. We're going to have more regular content for you for this. And now that I have time to, I can make shorts. And so look out for those on NerdTube or on my YouTube.
I need some shorts. It's getting to be summer, so I need, I need to, my legs need to get
short form
tan.
content. So yeah, look out for that stuff. I am going to be streaming with Squez this week again. We're going to 100% Super Mario Wonder. I recommend you coming if you don't necessarily want to play that game, just coming to see, because they did a really good job in that game of like the bad guys. There's these popcorn kernels that like are kernels at first, and then lava touches them and then they pop like popcorn. Like there's just a little extra added, the way Nintendo does the good, cool little extras like that. I would recommend coming and seeing some of it. Do you have stuff coming up?
I mean, on NerdTube, we have, we're actually winding down. We've been doing Andor reviews and Dark Side of the Ring reviews and stuff like that. Those are all winding down. Like the season finale of Andor was last week. The season finale of Dark Side was this week. So we're kind of getting back into that lull of content. So, I mean, that's why, again, that's why we're kind of like, I was like, all right, we need to get in relationships again, because I knew you were not feeling good. I had a lot going on, but I'm like, I think we're finally at a point where we can kind of do it. We're also doing our TOS watch-alongs with, me, Zam, Mage, where we go and watch the original series again, and all of its.
And anybody can join the Discord, right, and watch as long as
anyone can join the Discord and watch. They just have to make sure they mute themselves. We're streaming live, but we're not like actually talking on the Discord while it's going. But you can watch it with us and then have like YouTube open and listen to us talking. Because if you just watch it on Discord, you won't hear us. We can't do it. So it's not like a what do they call those, watch days or whatever? Like when people like just watch on Discord. No, we're actually streaming on YouTube at the same time, and we're watching it on Discord. The other thing is, so for Milquetoast, it's just I'm playing through Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm playing through Chrono Trigger for the first time. I'm almost done with that. Just playing more Star Trek and more Final Fantasy, just kind of like that stuff's kind of been running for a while. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing between Twitch and YouTube and everything like that. So, just trying to keep busy, as I said, between all of the family obligations and stuff.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to have side note, I guess. I'm trying to redo my website. So to have some like controller charms and stuff. I've been into beads and stuff lately, and making bookmarks and stuff. So if you're into that and want to support our channels, that way, then you could buy a bookmark or something like that. And that drop will happen. I think it's going to happen the second to last week of June. So in a couple weeks. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys all for coming out and hanging out and listening to us ramble about nothing.
Yeah, and if you're also catching us on the rewind, or if you're here right now, please like, share, and subscribe, to all of our things. All of the links should be down in the comments, for Winnie's stuff, for my stuff, NerdTube, all that stuff. So definitely support us everywhere you can if you like us, just because we try to. The rising tide raises all ships.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess with all that being said, everybody, we will catch you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye, Leo.